I have decided that all of these podcasts are going to be super serious now as well. I didn't tell you this, but it's because,
no laughing
whatsoever, because we're getting, a fair, we've got decent numbers now. Not really decent, but more listeners
in the tens.
And what I'm concerned about is that people are going to think we're real idiots. If
they don't think that.
I think they probably maybe they think that anyway.
There's, yes. I mean, yes, of course. Oh, Ben, you've laughed.
All right, yeah, game over. Fair enough. Oh, man, we should just get started.
Okay, we did try.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. You're hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, where we talk about interesting things so that you don't ever have to in your normal lives. My name's Ben, and as always, I'm joined by the far more digitally enhanced half of the podcast, Tom.
Hello.
How are you, mate?
Good. Did you look down at a piece of paper then, to remember what to say about Tom? I wonder if you have a list of things to.
Don't, because I really don't. I want to be really clear about this. Do you know what the looking around is? Is the last minute panic of what am I going to say? No, a smart person would make a list. They'd workshop a few ideas. They'd be like, one day I'll say, this is more nautical half of the podcast. And I would write a funny little list down. I am not that smart or prepared.
No, it's just pure wit.
I wouldn't even call it that, mate, to be honest. I think that's a bit of a stretch. How are you, dude? What's going on?
Yeah, all good this end. The most exciting thing I've done is put up shelves. And that really is it.
I saw this on your Instagram, man. That's actually hell of an achievement. All by yourself?
Oh, yeah. 100%. All by myself. Yeah, I just want people to know out there that if you see those shelves on my Instagram, that they were put up by myself with no help, no outside help at all. And I could do it again, but I just don't want to.
No, I've proved myself.
Yeah,
why try harder? Why try again?
You should take my word for it.
What's the because did you say you picked up something special to go on those shelves?
I have. I picked up a little one of the new Xboxes, an Xbox Series S, which cool. I'm sure most people would potentially turn their noses up. My brother did. The second I mentioned it, he was like, "Oh, why would you get the crap one?" And that's a whole other kettle of fish that we could probably spend the whole podcast talking about. But I got it for a really good price with some Amazon vouchers, and. It's better than my old Xbox, so there you go.
Hey, sweet.
There you go. That's as simple as it needs to be.
Mate, in these times of lockdown, that is about as exciting as life is going to get, all right? Putting up a shelf and buying a new games console.
Yeah, I've got to admit as well, it does look banging on the shelf.
Oh, so are we going to see more shelf content? Mate, that's what you should do, is pivot the YouTube channel into shelf review.
Shelf-based content.
Yeah, I really like the brackets on these ones.
Your number one stop for shelf-based content. Don't look anywhere else. Why bother?
Oh, man. Dude, we are descending rapidly. Look. This podcast is barely on rails as it is, okay? But we need to... let's keep it. I've decided as well that at the start of this one, I'm going to mention that people should subscribe. Because I figure maybe if they hit subscribe before they realise what a pair of idiots we really are... Yeah, then we might get a few more subscriptions. So leave a comment,
sinks into how bad it is.
Because we have some cool things to talk about this time. As always, mate, there's some stuff in the news which is sad and disheartening.
Yeah.
And needs two completely inexperienced guys to comment on. Obviously, that's what everyone needs.
And we always start on a high note.
Oh, obviously always on a high note. But there's also, there's some good stuff. There's some Falcon and Winter Boy action going on. And I don't know how much of Justice League we need to talk about, but
all 4 hours of it.
It's in there. But mate, I wanted to start by asking you about this. Actually, I know sometimes a subject of this podcast is purely brought down to Twitter have done this.
Yeah.
And I can hear everyone gasping with excitement because these are obviously the most exciting parts of this podcast.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've seen this yet. Have you seen Twitter's feature where if you try and post an article that it thinks you haven't read, it will warn you about it?
Yes, and I've like had it firsthand because a while ago there was this rumor coming out that Apple were going to put out new iMacs in like different colors.
Sure.
And I didn't read the article. I saw the article, retweeted it with a comment and said, if it comes in blue, sign me up, sort of thing. And Twitter did. It just said, hey, you haven't read this. Are you sure you want to post it? And I think it's a fair enough feature.
Yeah.
And I obviously smashed the no button and said, no, shut up, post it.
Leave me alone, Twitter. Do you think that would work? I mean, is that going to encourage people to... It just seemed right. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because it just seems a bit wet and seems a bit kind of worthless. I don't really know what. I mean, obviously, it didn't encourage you. It didn't encourage me when I got my my notification.
I don't know. I think on some people it might. Like if you're perhaps like a slightly older user, you might think, actually, no, I haven't read it. Maybe I should read it before I post it. It did make me think about it a little bit, but what I was posting seems so trivial in the grand scheme of things. It's like it's some colours of computers. I'm sure it's not going to spread mass racism or anything. But I get the point. I do get the point. Like you should read before you post something because that's all Facebook is a bunch of people reposting stuff they probably haven't really read or understood.
Yeah. Dude, well, maybe it's... I mean, I just struggle to feel like it's going to... Like the people that's aimed at are the last people who are going to listen to it,
Definitely. I mean, I don't hate it. I think it's better. Maybe it's better than them doing nothing because arguably they can't stop people doing that.
Yeah.
But maybe it is better than... I guess, but it also kind of treads on that privacy line, doesn't it? It's like, how do you know I haven't read that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So is it monitoring what you have read or does it monitor what you click on Twitter, which I guess it does?
Yeah.
I guess it raises that concern. But, if you've read it somewhere else, like on your, computer, and then you repost it on your phone, it says, hey, you haven't read this. It's like, I actually have.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what happens next is if you get a reputation, because it could be as simple as that, right? It could be that you've read an article somewhere else and then you think, oh, yeah, I was going to share that with my 5 followers or whatever. But then if you do that all the time and Twitter starts thinking, you've got a bit of a rep for not reading what you're posting before you post it, then all of a sudden, I don't know, it seems like it could descend into some weird unfortunate territory.
It makes you wonder if they could do so say if you say no to that and then you post it, it could put a little star and if you click it, it says this user hasn't read this article. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
But, you could get around that by clicking it, but then, if you're posting links all the time, that slows you down considerably.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe it should be something like that.
It makes me wonder, in the pursuit of trying to make Twitter better, are they just going to force everyone off it?
Well, yeah, almost like, when Trump used to tweet something and it would have the little exclamation mark and say, this has been proven to be not true, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's too far, but maybe just a smaller one that just says maybe it says something like article is based off rumour, not fact.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. I don't know. But I think it's an okay step. But like it says, it is a bit wet. What does it really do?
Maybe it's a bit of a fumble in the right direction, at least.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. It's a fumble, but it's in the right way.
Yeah. I mean, this is only a tenuous link, but thinking of ways to make the world better. And I know I want to talk about this, or go into talking about this, fully acknowledging that we maybe aren't, I wouldn't like to think expert. I know I'm certainly not an expert on the politics of what's going on at the minute with regard to with people, with Sarah Everard's murder. And my thought train here is in terms of making the world a better place. But I just want to make it clear that I'm not an authority on what's right for the country or right for women, especially as far as what should be happening here. But that seems messed up, man.
What's just happening in general?
Yeah, dude. But also, I mean, I don't know if you saw in this week in the news where they're talking about the idea of putting plainclothes policemen inside clubs.
Yeah, I did see that.
Posted around nightclubs to try and protect women. I mean,
it again feels like a fumble. To just say we're doing something as opposed to just letting it go. I feel in a very similar vein to you, and this is why we didn't talk massively about BLM when it came out.
Yeah.
It's because me and ourselves are potentially the least qualified, and we have zero experience of that type of thing. So it's very hard to make a comment without it coming out not wrong, but ill-informed. So I think it's awful. I think the people who are in charge of making those decisions should be those people, i.e. it should be a woman deciding what happens to help protect women. It shouldn't be men.
But this is the thing, man. I mean, at least we can acknowledge that we don't really know what we're talking about with it. Because even the idea of if these secret police, that sounds like something else, but these undercover policemen just there to guard women. I mean, you've got plenty. I mean, you can see you have plenty of women raising their voices and saying, "Well, that's not the issue." I mean, okay, on the one hand, I do accept that with the position we're in at the moment, protection might be a part of the solution somewhere, but the issue isn't protecting women from inevitable harm.
No. The
issue is stopping the harm.
Yeah, exactly. The issue is the male violence in general. I saw a really good, I think it was on Twitter or something, I can't remember. Someone said, if you're, because loads of people are saying you shouldn't be walking home alone at night and all this sort of rubbish. That's by the by. There's lots of reasons why people have to walk home alone at night and all that sort of thing. You know, and loads of people saying, well, she shouldn't be doing that. And it's yes, but if you should be able to do that, first and foremost, you should be able to walk wherever you like at night and feel safe, regardless of your gender or whatever and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, even if what you're scared of, regardless of who you are, is being jumped by men. If I'm walking home at night, which, is relatively rare, especially at the moment, I don't think, oh no, what if a bunch of women attack me? I'm thinking, oh no, what if a bunch of guys jump me and beat the shit out of me, sort of thing. Yeah. So the problem is, it doesn't matter who you are. The problem is the male violence.
Exactly. And dude, I know this has been reported on, but you see the difference in the way that it's described. It's always a woman was attacked. A woman was murdered. It's never a man murdered a woman tonight.
No, yeah.
It's so much, it's the focus on the victim. My wife's a primary school teacher, and she, funnily enough, we were talking today about it. She's saying the difference now in training sexual education, or teaching sexual education rather, to kids from as early as year one. So I think it's not about the sex part of it. It's not about the teaching them about sexualness and sexuality. It's teaching them about knowing that you shouldn't touch other people without them wanting it. Not in a sexual way, but the distinction is, it always used to be teaching kids a stranger shouldn't touch you here. Yeah, does that make sense? So it's always this is your private area. If you can't see it under your pants, whatever, then a stranger shouldn't touch you there. And that's sound advice, but at the same time, now they're saying from year one we should be teaching kids you shouldn't touch someone there.
Yeah,
and it's a real distinction, man. It's a critical distinction because it stops. It's not being you should avoid being a victim. It's being you should avoid making someone a victim.
Yeah,
and that's the difference.
Yeah, you should never. Yeah, I was going to say, even thinking back to my sex ed at school, there was never don't, I guess it was a given, but there was never don't ever touch someone if they tell you not to, or that sort of thing. It was always here's how to practice safe sex, and that was pretty much it. Which I guess maybe that is something that needs to change.
Yeah. And there's something sick in the mindset of people who will go, oh, well, you should just learn to protect yourselves better. You should make more sensible choices. You shouldn't walk through that dangerous park at night. It's something twisted up in that, man. I mean, dude, you look at. Sorry, I can feel myself getting more and more annoyed about this. But you see people online saying, 98% of women will experience sexual harassment at some point, right? There are people commenting on that, going, "Oh, only 2% to go, lads." Or going, "Oh, that's bullshit." Or going, "Oh, I just looked at a woman funny once. Did that mean I harassed her?" It's this complete lack of kindness. Someone's saying to you, "Hey, by the way, we're having a bit of a shit time over here," and everyone's going, "No, you're not. That's not my fault."
No. Yeah, don't dress that way then. Don't do this, don't do that.
Oh, I'll try and put, if anyone's interested, I'll try and put a link to this in the description, but there's an art exhibition and I forget the name of it, but it's along the lines of, like it's to do with what you're wearing and the idea of, you were asking for it, or you shouldn't have dressed like this. But it's an exhibition of the clothes that people were wearing when they were assaulted.
Oh, really?
And it's dude.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's really harrowing as well. I mean, because it is. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's normal clothes. It's not.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
What people think when they hear about this without having any experience of it, and they just go, "Oh, well, she probably dressed like a tart." It's completely not.
Yeah,
oh, man.
But mate, even so, like, I'm not trying to fly the flag or anything like that, but like, you should be able to dress in that and not be assaulted.
Yeah. 100%.
It shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to wear whatever you like. For instance, if I was wearing a Banana Man costume walking home at night, I would expect, I would be a lot more worried about it if I was just wearing that. But it shouldn't be a given that means I'll be beaten up for it.
Yeah.
That's a very crude comparison. I know it's not the same.
No, sure. And I mean, like we say, I know we're not really qualified to talk about this, so there isn't. I mean, obviously, there's not an answer. No. There's certainly not one that we're going to be coming up with here. But it's just horrible to even think about.
It is. It's like we said. If you're going to sexually assault somebody, you were going to do it that night, regardless. Of what they're wearing or where they were or whatever.
And I mean, sorry, dude, but what happens, just thinking again about these undercover police officers, what are they going to do? Is it looking at the dance floor and going, oh, well, that guy's getting a bit fruity with that girl, we should step in?
Yeah, where does it?
Is it that, or is it that they're not watching the quiet guy who just leaves after, 5 minutes after another girl's left, he's had his eye on? And he's, what I don't understand what they think they're going to do and why they think that's the first thing to try and fix.
I also wonder if they'll even do it, because it's like, it's something we'll implement. It's like, that's a big shrug off. It's like, it happens.
Yeah,
well, there's not much we can do about it. Which is
horrible. Man, happy times. Like we said, we're going to start with the happiest. Now that we've got the serious bit of the podcast out the way, we need to move on. We need to move on to some happier times, I guess.
Let's do it,
mate. You asked me earlier in the week about productivity porn.
I did.
So, what's your beef with productivity porn?
Let's make it clear, Randy, before your mind goes there. What I mean by productivity porn is, I think it's a term that's been coined. I didn't coin it. I remember hearing about it somewhere. Is like people that will post a video on like how incredibly, amazingly productive they are. And like, I think I went down the rabbit hole with it a little bit my last couple of weeks of YouTube viewing, just watching people that are like doctors or filmmakers or whatever, and how their days are just like mental. Like I wake up at 5, do emails for 2 hours, and then I go for a 10-mile run, and then I'm back home by like 10 o'clock, and then I'll film this entire video by 12. I'll edit it by 1, and then I'll work on. It's just like it's just like rubbish. And the thing is, it's not rubbish. I'm sure like some of them do that, but the problem is like you read the comments and people are like, oh, I could never be this productive. Like, oh, I wish I was half as productive as you were, and all that sort of thing. And it's like, you've got to remember, these people posting videos on it are like at the top of that scale. They are the people that would write a book about here's how I'm crazy productive and do all these things. B, a lot of them don't have like other relationships. Like no, that sounds to me like, some of them got wife and kids, some of them have got girlfriend or whatever, but quite a lot of them are like single guys who can squeeze all this stuff in because they don't have something to drag them out of that mindset.
Yeah, I hear you.
So why don't we go and do this tonight, or why don't we watch this tonight, or something like that. I'm sure they still do, but they make the active choice not to. And I've just been watching a lot of it, and I think a lot of it is really detrimental to actually watch unless you take it with a real big pinch of salt. Yeah. And like the reason I've been researching it so much is because the last a couple videos ago, I did a video on like a day in the life of a freelancer, which is just how I kind of work and all that sort of thing. And like I had a few people saying comments saying, oh, how do you stay productive and all that sort of stuff. So my next video, spoiler alert, is how I stay productive on an iPad. But it's so like down to earth compared to the shit I see. That's kind of what I wanted to say. And like I kind of bring this up in the video and I just say, look, this is how I work. It doesn't mean you should work like that, and it doesn't mean that if you don't do this, it means you're bad. Like, everyone works in different ways. That's totally normal. Don't watch this and feel bad about what you output, because you'll do 10 things that I don't do in that day. And I think a lot of people just think, shit, I'm not being productive. And it just puts them in this spiral of not doing anything. I remember students at college used to be like it, like, oh, I can't do anything, I can't get started today, which basically writes off the whole week for them. And watching people doing loads of stuff actually brings them down and builds them up.
Yeah. I think it's almost related to something that we've talked about in the past, where the danger of people who are new to a creative pursuit seeing people doing well and thinking that that's where they should be now. But it's almost like the flip side of it, because in the past it's been a problem where, especially with YouTube, people are living the life. Yeah. They're already there, they've already made it, and they just get to slack off and be living in a big house with their mates. I know that's a very specific kind of video. But you see the perception, or on any kind of social media, the perception is that because you're only seeing the fun bits, you think, oh, well, that's where I should be now. I should just be churning out, good videos, I should be churning out good music or whatever it is, and it should be easy. Yeah. This kind of, because I know the kind of video you're talking about, that almost feels like it's too far the other way, where it's almost berating people who aren't working massively, redlining 100% of the time to get it done, because that's not a healthy attitude either.
Mate, so when you talk to someone and they're like, what are you doing? I'm so busy, and they just run through how busy they are, and it's almost they're proud of how busy they are. Yeah. And that they almost expect you to be impressed. It's like, fucking hell, it sounds terrible. Yeah. Like, doing this. And like, there's this real, especially on YouTube, and it's one of my most hated things about the circles I make videos in, is this kind of hustle culture, this kind of like real rise and grind, back to daily grind, edit, film, like make stuff. And like, when I see that, it puts me off. I'm like, holy crap, like, I make videos because they're fun to make and I enjoy making them. I wouldn't enjoy forcing a video out every day. No way. Like, that sounds like my nightmare. Sure. But, and I think it's really bad, especially for like, there's kids in the space, like I say kids, people from like, I don't know, on my Twitter feed, I've probably got people from like 16 upwards who are starting tech YouTube channels and that sort of thing. And they're just like, put in like 12 hours today, love it, hustle, hashtag and all those things. I'm like, man, like, have a childhood, bloody hell. Like, I get being excited and wanting to work on things and enjoying things, but like, this is half the reason why I try my best to not really work on the weekends. Like, sometimes I'll spend an hour here, I'll spend an hour there, but I need to actively remind myself to stop. It's like, stop working, because if you keep working, you suddenly the weekend will be meaningless. Yeah. It's just as important to have the time off to actually think about what you're doing and have some rest than actually push for another video. Because I could probably push my video output to like, I don't know, if I really push 3 a week, I wouldn't want to though. I'd be so stressed out and tired and annoyed. I'd hate it. And I see it happen to people. I don't see it happen, but I see people going down that hole, and I'm like, dude, what are you crushing for? Yeah. It's mental. It's not good, man, because there are so many other sides to this too. I mean, the big one is that you need to recharge your creative energy, surely. Massively. If you're constantly grinding out the same stuff. I mean, does that sound like you're making good art? No.
Grind. Grind. Yeah. Just that even itself. Oh yeah, I'm grinding out more videos.
The term itself is horrible.
It's like good, I guess.
I think some people live off that pressure, the constant pressure. Like, a good example would have been Casey Neistat a few years ago when he was vlogging every day. Like, he obviously thrived in that environment of like making content. And I think it just, but again, it's like these are the people at the very pinnacle of what they're doing. Yeah. These are the 1% who can do that and make that happen and make it work. Most other people can't. And it's the same with like people that want to get on, like, when for instance, like, if Lady Gaga says at the front of the concert, like, be who you want to be and it will all work out. It's like, yes, that worked for you, That doesn't work for a lot of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
And it's fine for her to say that because she can be a bastion for people that want to be that way. And there's no reason why you shouldn't want to do that sort of thing. Of course not.
Yeah.
But, they are almost like the lottery winners. It's like, yes, it paid off for you, but there'll be also someone on the other side who's been grinding for 20 years and hasn't made a penny off what they do.
It reminds me of, I'm sure it was Ricky Gervais who said this, who was talking about routes to fame. And he was describing it as, it's useless for me to tell you how I made it, because as soon as one person gets through that door, the door shuts.
Yeah.
For any industry. He says, as soon as, was it Arctic Monkeys made a MySpace video?
Sure.
I might be getting confused here, but their first big hit was like a viral MySpace video. And then after that, everything in the industry worked to go, well, that's not happening again. Yeah. or maybe through saturation of everyone was trying it, but there are mechanisms that work into place that go, oh, well, that's not going to happen again. Someone makes a successful YouTube career in a particular field, and then instantly it's much more difficult for anyone else to go through that route. Yeah. There's no gimmick that works twice.
No.
And I think that's a big part of this. So like you say, you can't just say, oh, this is how I did it, and expect it to work for someone else. Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. It's just like I think it's because I've watched so much of it recently. It's just been like half of this I can tell is absolute rubbish. Like, well, it's not rubbish. It's just heavily embellished. Is like, I do this. It's like, yeah, you might have done that one day, but you don't. There's no way you do that every day, sort of thing. I might be completely wrong, as people often are.
No,
as we often are.
I don't think you are, man. Or at least I agree, because I mean, I've been to that well. I've dipped my toe in the shooting for productivity waters, and the most that I can say I've taken away from it is you have to pick which bits to keep. You can't keep it up forever. I've tried like well, I'm going to get up a bit earlier, and I'm going to make sure I do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to tick off what I've done every day, and I'm going to make sure I try and do all these different things. And if I just maintain that, I mean, incidentally, from what you were saying before, this was heaviest when I was single, so it was a fair while ago now. But it's right. But you're right when you're saying it's because you've got no other responsibilities, so you've got the freedom to diarise your day almost, to be like, right, I'm going to do this here, I'm going to do that there. Yeah, but you can't keep it up. You can't keep it up for it. But I always feel like it's a question of going, well, you know what? I still do that. Or, even now, a few years later, I've still managed to keep that as a habit. Or I generally approach life like this. Yeah, but definitely. You can't get caught up in saying, oh, I should definitely be Mark Wahlberg every day, up at 4 in the morning and into bed at 7 p.m.
Yeah, and there's so much on it on YouTube at the moment. I don't know whether my algorithm has just flicked to just show me that, because I was basically researching how to make a similar style video. I don't want to sound hypocritical, because I'm going to make a similar style video, but
it's all about the content, mate. It's all, no shame in the content.
So much more down to earth. But it's just like, I think this kind of brings me around to my second point I wanted to talk about, just in terms of YouTube. We seem to have a little YouTube update once a poddy.
Yeah, sure.
Is just like the last, I don't know, let's say 3 months on YouTube, I've been really consistent in what I've uploaded. It's basically been iPad-based stuff with like hints of gaming and hints of other things and all that. Yeah. And it's been going very lucky and fortunate, but it's going well. Like focusing on one sort of style of topic has helped the channel grow massively. That's been great. And then in the last couple of videos ago, I did that day in the life sort of thing. And I said at the start of that, since I left teaching, quite a few comments like, oh, I didn't know you taught and all this sort of thing. Yeah. I thought, oh, maybe I'll finally make the video of like, here's why I stopped teaching, because a lot of people have asked about it. I know a lot of people follow me initially because I was a teacher and all that sort of stuff. And then I've been rolling that video around in my back of my head for ages, like thinking of what I'd say and how I'd make it and all that sort of stuff. And like, I made it and I thought, oh, well, it's not iPad content, but it is based off the last video and questions about and all that sort of stuff. So I upload it, but it's a flopped isn't the right word for it, because I wouldn't say I put a lot of stock into hoping it would blow up. But the video has, compared to everything else I've done recently, the past 3 months, absolute flop. And I never expected to get loads from it. I wasn't here like, oh, I want thousands of views and that sort of thing. But now I can see why people don't.
Yeah.
Like
that must be weird, man. Because I know not everyone who watches videos is subscribed, but it's just a reminder, I guess, that even if your subscribers or the people who actually are engaging with your channel are requesting a certain type of content, when the YouTube good old algorithm then goes on to show that to other people, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be shown to the right people, I suppose.
No.
It must be difficult.
It sucks because, like, I'm sure a lot of YouTubers want to make different styles of videos, which is totally fine. But unless you've got like a huge following, like a really genuinely huge following, let's say, 200,000 above, your people aren't going to watch it. And I really felt it that with that video. It's like, wow, okay, that people don't want to see that from my channel. And it's like YouTube will do, if basically when that video went live, YouTube will put it in your subscription box. And if like your subscribers don't click it as much, then it won't get pushed as much to everybody else. So it obviously didn't get clicked as much because it wasn't based around iPad stuff. Yeah. And then it stopped getting pushed out in general. And now it's just petered out completely, which is like almost interesting to watch, because if I was a subscriber to a channel that I really liked, you'd think, oh yeah, I'll definitely watch that. It's a bit more interesting, a bit more internal. I'm trying to sound not butthurt by this video. I'm not at all, because it was an extra. Like it was something that I just threw together. It was actually, if you're eagle-eyed enough, I'm wearing the same shirt in the next video because I filmed it before. I should have changed t-shirt, silly thing, but
pro move. But that explains the lack of engagement. People are like, same bloody shirt, mate.
Same shirt. But so I just filmed it before I filmed something else, and then slowly put it together over the course of a few weeks or something. But I'm still glad I made the video. I'm quite relatively happy with how that one turned out. But because all I did was speak at the camera for about an hour. I just chopped it down to 10 minutes.
But you know what? I still stand by that, mate. I like those talking head sort of videos from you. So there you go. I said it.
Thanks, man. But there you go. Yeah, I didn't want to sound like annoyed or anything, but it's just interesting. Like, that was a deviation, and YouTube basically punished me for it massively. It was like, don't make that again.
Tom, what you need to remember, mate, is that you need to be up at 5 every morning making exactly the same video, please.
Rise and grind.
Rise and grind. Same video, nothing different from yesterday, and then go to sleep again. All right?
Go to sleep. And shut up and you'll be happy with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we'll throw you some advertising pennies once in a while.
But there you go. So now I've kind of learned the lesson, I guess, the hard way. I kind of already knew it in the back of my head.
Sure.
I was hoping it might get picked up because I put initially I put pandemic in the title.
Oh, yeah.
But I actually took that out because it wasn't performing. It wasn't searching well, so
I see.
Why I stopped teaching.
Just as a side note, I keep getting, or YouTube has started sending more emails, just because obviously this podcast goes onto YouTube, so I get emails about the YouTube channel, which arguably I don't pay too much attention to, because I think most of our listens aren't coming through YouTube. Some are, but a lot are. And they started sending emails like, "Oh, you should check out your analytics. You should definitely look at this." And you should. And you know what? I opened up. I thought, okay, I will. I'll check out, see what stats YouTube can give me. I took one look at the dashboard and went, "Oh, this is not for me." Like, for a combination of hearing you talk and gripe about it in the past, I'm like, I am not getting involved in this.
Yeah, man. The YouTube dashboard is a mental health fucking if you ask me. It's not well designed in terms of looking after the people that look at it.
Yeah, sure.
It's designed with Google's interests. It really is. It's not I don't think it's a pleasant place to. Basically, when it shows like a little airplane hitting the floor and saying your latest video is crap.
Yeah.
That is not good. It doesn't offer a way to fix that or anything. It just says this hasn't performed well because we haven't pushed it very much.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of what it is.
It's the implication that it's all on you. It's like we've got this mystery box, this mystery algorithm that you're not going to get to see, but that didn't work, so try again.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you how it works or what does work, but what we will say is that latest video did not work.
Yeah, but mate, the thing is, that's the essence of good gambling, or creating a good gambling system. It's like with loot boxes, when they were more of a thing. It's the idea that maybe it will work, maybe I'll get something. It's if they could tell you, if you do make this video, put these keywords in, it will do about this well. Then you wouldn't be encouraged to make more videos. But the fact that for no rhyme or reason, sometimes your videos work and sometimes they don't, it's addicting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. It's complete. It does lean into that gambling sort of nature that makes you think one more try, one more video. Next time I'll get it, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's my. I mean, I'm happy to have the analytics because they are really useful.
Sure.
But I don't like the way it kind of basically tells you off for deviating to a different style of video.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you.
That's the long and short of my YouTube woes this week. Back to your regularly scheduled iPad content before you know it.
Oh, man. Dude, I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. I say not a little bit different from our regular content, but a little bit different from YouTube, I guess. I watched a movie the other day on Netflix. It's called Moxie. And it's decent. Spoiler, there you go. That's my entire review.
You don't need to listen.
That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening. It's really worth a watch. I think it would appeal to people. So it's set in high school in America.
Yeah.
And I would probably start by saying that it manages to be interesting to people who aren't themselves in a high school in America. So it deals a lot with the culture in the school, but it's not like a High School Musical kind of thing, you know.
Sure.
I think Amy Poehler directed it. I don't know if she had anything else to do with it, but she's in it too, who you might know from Parks and Recreation and lots of other stuff as well. But the story is definitely more set in the school, and the characters there. And it's not an easy watch. I mean, it's a comedy, but it's not an easy thing to watch because basically it's about in the school there's this culture, a very sexist culture against. Sure. In case I need to say it, sexist against the girls. So the boys are not being very nice to the girls in the school, and they start rating them, and they have these ranking lists of, you know, hottest, nicest ass, all the rest of it. Not very cool stuff. And it's basically so the main character has a new friend join the school. She becomes friends with another girl who joins the school, who is kind of a spark because she doesn't want to just sit back and take this treatment from the school.
Sure.
She almost serves as a spark for the main character to create this zine, like an underground kind of paper magazine that she leaves in the toilet. Yeah, It's like a feminist kind of call to arms, I guess.
Yeah.
And the story just develops from there, and how it starts to change the culture in the school, and how the girls start to stand up for themselves a bit more. What can I say? It's just a good film. It deals, because the sad thing is, because it deals with a lot of women's rights, a lot of feminist kind of issues. I mean, you go to the trailer on.
Oh, Ben, that's very poor form.
That's very poor podcasting, isn't it?
Oh my God! If you didn't hear that, Ben's phone just rang. That was a very office-like ring.
I'll edit it out, mate. It's fine.
No. They need to know.
They need to know. Who was it? I don't even know who it was. So, what I was going to say was, because it deals with it deals with a few feminist issues, what have you. You look at the trailer on YouTube, and a load of the comments are just going, "Oh, this is just some woke bullshit," you know. "Oh, yeah, this is the death of Netflix," you know. "Oh, here they are pandering to the social justice warriors again." And you know what? If a film about social issues like that bothers you that much, then it's probably not for you. Because it doesn't hit you over the head with it. You know, I know there are some bad films or some bad bits of art that kind of, if they've got a point like that to make, they sort of beat you over the head with it, maybe a bit too much, to the point where it gets in the way of the story. And this just doesn't. Man, I don't want to say too much because I obviously don't want to spoil it. But it's just very good. I think the characters in it are very honestly portrayed. You know, they're not playing characters almost. There's some very, very down to earth, very true to life people in this, and just the way they deal with some certain situations. And it does get quite dark with some of the stuff that comes out that has actually been happening at the school. So be ready for that, I guess. But it's not. It doesn't get too dark and horrible.
Is it based off like a true story, or is it like
It's not. It's based off a book, but it's not based off a true story, I don't think, as far as I know, anyway.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I would just recommend it. I think that's probably everything I have to say about it. But it's good. It's good. It does make you think. I know. We talked earlier about what's happening in this country at the minute, and it's kind of timely for that reason, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just good for boys and girls alike.
That's cool. For all the family.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good watch. But
awesome stuff.
Speaking of good watches,
yes,
we have some new Disney Plus Marvel treat to
Marvel goodness. Yeah.
We're still suckling at the Marvel teat.
Forever. I'm happy to do so.
It will never end. So this is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Is out, man.
It's out. What do you think? First impressions, Ben? Straight off the bat.
First impression for me is it's good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I'd say I'm the same. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. I'm okay to get the negative bits out the way first. I don't feel like it's as inspiring as the first couple of episodes of WandaVision were. Just to make the comparison with the last Marvel series that came out.
It's a lot more grounded.
It seems a lot more straightforward as well.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot more like you would expect one of the films to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what are you as excited for this? I'd say we kind of sound a bit lackluster about this. We're not exactly going into it going, it was really good, it was awesome.
I guess it's hard to tell because WandaVision did have 2 episodes to serve up straight away, and this only has 1. But yes, I liked it. It feels a lot more grounded. I think it's less exciting than WandaVision because WandaVision is such a strange concept. And a lot of people probably would have been like, whoa, Vision's back, which is already strange, but also it's a TV show. It's like a comedy sitcom. That's weird. Like, what will Marvel do for that? This does feel a lot more straight up. Even the trailers they put out for it are very, I guess Captain America-esque, Winter Soldier sort of, it feels like it's directly a Captain America film pretty much without Cap. The only thing I think it's going to have a bit of a slow burn at the start, and I think it will get awesome as it goes on. Like Marvel so rarely miss, with something like this. I enjoyed the human elements of it, like especially the Winter Soldier seem, he now has nothing left because there's no fight to fight. I thought that was quite interesting. He's only ever fought, and he said he had a moment of calm in Wakanda, but then he was brought right back up to fight again.
Yeah, sure. Like that's what you're good for.
That seemed quite cool. I quite like that sort of.
I mean, I suppose we should be fair to this as well because it's the first episode is always going to be like a bit of a setup. I mean, they managed to get a bit of good action into it.
Oh yeah, the action scene was awesome. I thought it was so cool.
That opening scene was very well done.
Yeah, awesome. He was. I've always thought Falcon. I like the character. Anthony Mackie's character is awesome. I always thought the wings are always just too comic book for me to really get behind.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. He flies and he's got wings. It's always a bit like
a bit too birdy, a bit too feathery.
It's a bit too feathery. I liked how they're used in combat as like a shield. That looks really cool. But the second he like spreads his wings and flies, it just looks a bit. It's just too far. These Marvel things are relatively well like believable. If you're already stretching your imagination to believe them anyway, but when the wings come out, for some reason that seems more far-fetched than Doctor Strange doing some moves. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe that's why they chose to go with that opening scene, is to show, look, okay, so we haven't really shown you this, but the Falcon is capable. He's got a handle on his suit by now. He's got a handle on what he can do with it. Yeah.
But no, I really, really enjoyed the human elements sort of thing, like when he went back to his the boat. In that, I thought that whole section was cool. They're talking about the blip, which is quite interesting because you'd imagine if there was no TV shows and just films, like that would be something they would maybe mention, but they'd probably just gloss over. In Spider-Man, the second one, they really do play it off as a joke.
Yeah, sure.
Which is funny, like when they come back and the band hits into like the netball team or something.
Yeah.
But, it's good to see some actual like implications of that.
Yeah, I did like the human stuff. I think the only scene that maybe jarred for me a little bit was when they're in the bank. And none of it. Sorry, we should say there isn't really much to spoil about this first episode. There's no great spoilers. Happens. But when the Falcon is in the bank, trying to sort out some money for his sister. Yeah. I just kind of felt a bit out of character the way he starts playing off on it. It felt a lot like The Boys, Because I didn't think he was going to happen. I didn't think he was going to be like, yeah, it's me. Check it out. Maybe
definitely.
now give us some money. So I don't know. That felt a little bit weird, but other than that,
yeah, no, I liked the payoff with the Winter Soldier and the old Asian guy. I thought that was really cool. Like he's obviously killed his son at some point in the past. Yeah, that was quite a gut wrencher of a reveal. I was like, oh bloody hell, it's his kid.
Yeah,
and that was really sad.
Dude, I do like Winter Soldier as a character in the movies.
Yeah,
for sure. Because just for that reason, because he does seem like one of the few that are genuinely complicated. Yeah, you can always feel a real sadness for him, like a real sadness in him.
Yeah, definitely. He's just been put through the ringer. It was cool to see him in his Winter Soldier days, though, being a bit of a badass again. Yeah, that was cool with the mask on and like the big arm going for it. Really cool.
No, I'm excited though, dude. I think it's going to be. I think it should be solid. Yeah. I'm excited to see what. I mean, with the new Captain America, that felt like a bit of a kick in the dick for Falcon
massively.
When he's like, I handed the shield back because I decided it wasn't for me. It's not for everyone else. And then they're like, it's definitely for someone else.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where they're playing. They're definitely playing the. I don't want to say the race card, but that definitely felt like we've replaced him with this another big white guy sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. So
I'm looking forward to him picking that up.
Yeah. I'd like to know what that character is going to become.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in first impressions, doesn't look like a good egg, but...
No, he's got that evil smile about him, doesn't he?
Yeah. So we'll see now. We'll see. I'm excited for it. I'd say this is 6 episodes, isn't it?
Yeah. Mate, I tell you what, that Captain America reveal reminded me of Bullseye.
Yes.
From Daredevil.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, I'm getting more excited now. Like I really enjoyed this first episode, but I'm finding my excitement for it now.
Imagine if it is me and Callie were talking about it, because he'd be able to throw the shield so well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it won't be, but an interesting one to note. But yeah, man. Overall, I'm well excited to see what it'll be. I'm kind of also in the same mind. I wish they'd just put it all out. I don't like waiting week to week. I can see why they do it.
What, did they not get your emails about sorting that out?
No, yeah, obviously it's straight to their junk folder. But yeah, oh man. Again, I don't think they'll miss. I think it'll be great.
Here's hoping.
I'm excited to see where it goes.
I mean, speaking of superhero films and TV that could be a miss or could not be a miss, I devoted 4 hours of my day to watching Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League.
Mate, tell me about it, because can I ask a question first? Is it in 4:3?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. And I want to talk to you about that. So,
mate, give me the lowdown. I think it's unlikely I'm going to watch it. Okay. I really do think it is.
Well, okay, from a filmmaking point of view, I just want to know your thoughts on this, because the justification that's been given for doing 4:3. So for people who don't know what that means, you have a widescreen shape to your screen, so the screen is wide. 4:3 is more like your old tube TVs, where it's a lot narrower.
It's like a square.
Yeah, it's a lot exactly. It's a lot closer to being a square. But the thing is, with the justification for putting out this version of the Justice League in 4:3 is not that it's narrower, Tom. You see, you've made a classic mistake there. It's not that the screen is narrower; it's taller.
Right.
It's like it's when first we went to widescreen. And the whole thing was like, when you see the screen expand out and go, oh, look how much more scenery you get to see. Look how much more expansive these great cinematic vistas look. There was some genius has gone, but what if we took widescreen, right, and went whoop upwards and just gave you more above it? It's like, isn't that the same shape as we started out with? No, this is completely different. This is
there
tall,
an actual
widescreen.
Is that supposed to be the justification?
That is 100% the justification. Yeah, I think it matches up with IMAX a bit more, and it's because it's taller. It means you get to see more of the action. That's the justification that's been given for this. So what's going to happen? Like, 10 more years? We're going to have widescreen again?
Yeah. Was that the idea? Because I know Zack Snyder's had a lot of time to think about it since obviously it came out. Was his vision always for it to be like that?
That I don't know.
Or did that change?
That would be interesting to know. I mean, some of this does feel like he is stretching his... just to really... Sorry, just before we cut too deep into this, in case anyone doesn't really know what the issue is here, the Justice League was a film that was made a few years ago. Zack Snyder started directing it and couldn't, for personal reasons, finish it. So they had another director come in and finish it. The film wasn't that well received. And
it's
since
okay,
then,
it's a solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah. And since then, a lot of, they would call themselves super fans, have been saying that they want to see what Zack Snyder's original vision for this film was, because it's supposed to be a completely different film. And that's why now it's been re-released, right? Yeah. And I think that he's taken the opportunity, because he knew it wasn't going to the cinema, I think he's taken the opportunity to try a few things. And maybe 4:3 as the ratio was one of them. But I'll tell you what, mate, the pacing is definitely another one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot slower, a lot more deliberate paced in some of the establishing shots, as you might do, But I've never been more aware of editing in a film, or lack of editing, or editing style, I should say, maybe, where where you start thinking in terms of storyline. So Bruce Wayne, Batman, is going to try and find Aquaman, Yeah. But it takes a long time for him to get through the snow and ice with his horse. It takes a long time for him to come down into the village. It takes another long time for him to walk through the village. And I found myself thinking, this could be edited down to a shot of him on the ridge, a shot of him walking through the village, and then pushing into the pub. Into
which
the bar.
I guess would be any other film would do that.
Yeah, so it feels like... And it doesn't distract you from the story, I guess, but it does feel like if you're looking at things like that, it feels like he's taken the opportunity to be relaxed with the editing, with the direction of it, for sure. So, I mean, it's a long old film, man. I mean, 3 hours 50 minutes.
Wait, would you say it was? Is it good? Like the overall?
Yes, it's good. It's definitely, for my eye, it's definitely better than what was originally released. So I guess mission accomplished, I suppose.
Yeah. Is it still just an okay film though? Would you say it's got the Avengers quality to it, or is it?
Yeah, it's decent. I would say it's. It is. Oh man, I mean, okay. Because I'm trying to think as I'm saying this out loud now. I feel like one factor of how good it felt was that it was so long, right? In the sense that because it was consistently good through that 3 hours 50 minutes, through almost 4 hours, because it was consistently good, the length of it actually maybe made it feel better in a way,
right?
Because you're kind of going, oh, this was a good saga, this wasn't just a good 2 hour film, this was a good epic, this was so maybe that's part of it, but mate, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, the story makes more sense. I should say it is a completely different film in terms of what happened. I mean, there are the same sort of story beats, maybe, but everything in between those beats is completely different.
The original film is like, there's a villain. You don't really need to know much about him other than he wants to destroy the world. That's kind of like the beat of him. Yeah. From what I saw online, there seems to be a lot more development of who that guy is and what he wants.
Yeah, that's fleshed. I mean, Steppenwolf's character is fleshed out a lot more. He's got weird eyes. Weird eyes because there are a couple of moments where he needs to talk to Darkseid, who is like the big bad. It's his uncle. Right. He's the big bad. Yeah. And his eyes almost go to like pug eyes, almost like very docile, very wide, round, almost like Pixar kind of friendly monster eyes. And I'm like, that's weird, because then you can't unsee it in the scenes where he's supposed to be wrecking shop, Yeah. So I don't know. That's it. Yeah, but no. In terms of his character development, there's a lot. What he's doing makes a lot more sense, and it is fleshed out a lot more. There are a couple of characters, Cyborg and the Flash, get a lot more screen time, and their characters are fleshed out to make a lot more sense. Right. Considering this was the first film that they were in, this was this was their debut into the universe.
That's what makes you wonder why the Avengers are so successful, is because all those characters before they had the Avengers film. They all had their individual, and then they're brought together. Whereas Cyborg, I think Cyborg himself is a weird one to get on board with, because not many people in the pantheon of DC heroes, not many people know about Cyborg.
Yeah,
who is he and all that sort of thing. And even most people know about Aquaman, but I'd say Cyborg as well. And he almost feels like, even though I know it's not, he does feel like they're Iron Man. It's like, okay, well, this is their Iron Man. And that's all I thought when I watched Justice League, was like, this is their Iron Man ripoff.
Yeah, he does. Okay, so the character is a lot more developed in this, but he does still feel a bit like the utility character.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there are probably plenty of Cyborg fans, Matt, who would rip me to pieces over this and like, no, because he probably is a decent character in his own right. But in this film, he still feels a little bit like, I'm in this movie to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here so that this can happen.
Yeah, massively.
But it is helped by the character fleshing out that they give him. At least they do him a bit better service in this version.
That's good then.
Superman's back, baby.
Yeah.
As he got his black suit this time. Which
I don't know what the hype is for that. I must be like, obviously, it's the annoying fans here. But what does it even mean?
It's the fact that in the comics, right? It's the thing is, it's such an easy fruit to pick, for the fans of the original material, because after the death of Superman in the comics, he comes back with a mullet and a black suit, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, cool! That would be cool to see that in the movie." So in Joss Whedon's version, when he shows up in his regular suit, you think, "Oh, okay." Fine, swing and a miss. It doesn't. The thing is, it sounds so trivial, but it just is.
These
nice.
are comic book fans.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. And you know what, man? It's a good bit of Supermaning in this movie.
Cool.
For the bit that he's in it, there are still some of the. When you think about it, you can. There are still a few shots that you can pick out from the original version, if you like. Like when they're all trying to take, when because obviously he comes back to life and is not very happy. And when the rest of the Justice League,
not the most happy man,
when they try and take him on, and Flash is running, and Superman kind of tracks him, at super speed, and that is little moments like that.
That is the best part of that entire film, I thought. Yeah, when Flash runs past him and Superman clocks him and follows him, it's like, holy crap,
dude! It's that exactly. It's that kind of thing that makes you go, oh. Wait, this guy is... that's what I mean by a good Superman story. It's kind of showing you, he is what he's supposed to be in this movie.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, the end still had... Because obviously Superman shows up towards the end, if you haven't seen this film. Yeah. The way the story plays out is not much different in terms of the ending. So Superman shows up when they're fighting Steppenwolf, and he shows up at a key moment to kind of go, I'm here now to save the day, to help you out and to turn the tide. Gun. You know what? That's the only thing that I think was worse in this version than in the last one. And it's such a silly little thing for me to be such a fan of from the first one. When I think Steppenwolf says something about truth, Superman off screen goes, I'm a big fan of truth. And then it cuts to him and he says, but I'm also a fan of justice. And dude, I love it. I love it.
How do you?
That little reference to truth, justice, and the American way, dude.
Yeah,
I'm there for it. I'm there for it. Because I thought it was good.
Flying the flag.
I was like, yes, sir. And that was the bit where you kind of go, yes, now kick his ass. And they took that bit out. I'm sure there are people who don't like it. I don't know, man, but I thought it was cool.
It hit me with the cheese, that line, when I heard it.
I guess, man. I guess. But you know what? I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Yeah. But so they took that out. So you're on the side of right here, mate, because they took it out. They have an alternative showing up, in this one. But it still hits home, man. It still hits with a bit of like, yes. Because I feel myself getting excited about even talking about it now, because it gives you the excitement that you should get in a movie when the hero shows up to save the day. You know, because you're bearing in mind this is already a fight with some big comic book heroes. There's that feeling of now you're here. This is going to be awesome. Yeah, definitely. And that does what it should do.
It's like when all the Avengers show up at the end game through the portals. It's like, now this is the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's something special, man. I mean, because it's not even just the sense of someone's ass is going to get kicked now. It's not that. It's the fact that, I don't know, it's the empathy for the characters of the film, of relief, of like, oh yes, it's going to be all right,
Yeah, thank God.
And then you get to see some ass kicking.
Yeah.
But dude, you asked me before about whether it was going to be 2 movies.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't think this was going to be 2 movies, because Zack Snyder's obviously gone, well, I'm just going to make the movie end
I want to make
how it was originally going to end.
Sure.
Which is very much a setup for a second movie. So I hope you like those people going on about releasing the Snyder Cut, mate, because you are not going to stop hearing from them anytime soon.
I can imagine.
Because they're going to want the sequel. They're going to want the original sequel.
Out of interest, do you think if Zack Snyder hadn't left the project, it would have just been probably 2.5 hour version of that film?
Probably, yeah.
Just I think a cinema version.
It would have been edited for time, for sure. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it would have been edited for time, but I mean, it wouldn't have. I don't know. Maybe he said this. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but I don't get the feeling that you would chop this film into 2 halves.
No,
maybe. I mean, maybe that was the plan, but I don't think it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Maybe I might give it a watch. I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm going to spend 4 hours on it, but I know if I put it on, I probably would just sit and watch it. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, I'll turn it off.
Yeah, sure. It's if you've got some free time where you go, I really have got 4 hours that I don't mind losing here to watch a film that I'm supposed to have already watched, but is different now. Yeah,
if you add up that film and the original one, that's 6 hours of Justice League.
Don't, dude. I don't want to think about that. I should say though, before I watched it, if I hadn't have been able to get a free Now TV trial to watch it, then I wouldn't have watched it.
Right, fair enough.
So if I'd have had to pay, I don't know, maybe I would have paid for it eventually, but I don't.
Is that the only way to get it in the UK? No,
yes, it's on Sky as well, I think.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but you can watch it through Now TV. I mean, and they do free trials, so hey, if you haven't been using Now TV out there, then give it
use the code BEN10.
Yes. No, mate, it'll be ITSBUP 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we should get on that. Now that I've fessed up to only using Now TV for their free subscription, I'm sure they'll be keen to give us a sponsorship at some point in the future. But yes, I mean, there isn't really much more to say about it. In terms of the rest of the film, it's you know what you're in for roughly, but it's well shot. The action scenes are pretty good. There's nothing really that stands out as being wrong. Storyline wise, it's decent. Yeah, if you've got an afternoon to lose, then you could find worse ways to do it for sure.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, sounds right. Sounds right to me. I think I could probably do it.
And if it's all right to Tom, it's all right to you. Mate, I think that's it.
That's it.
I think that's us for this show.
That's another one in the bag.
Oh man, doesn't it feel like a relief when you get to the end? No, just kidding. We love this. So, Tom, where can people find you online if they want to say hello?
It's at Back Review everywhere, but where can they find Ben?
I am at BenjuOnLung all over the place. If you type in ITSBUP as well, you can search for stuff online. You probably find us through the website. You can send us a message through there, I think, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, if you've got this far in listening, then subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment. Interact, please. The algorithms love it. If you just interact with us in some way online, then that'd
even
be fantastic,
if it's a report, please. This is bad.
Yeah, YouTube, please take this down because it's terrible. Yeah. Anything like that is always much appreciated. If there's anything interesting that you want to talk about as well, then hey, we're open to ideas. But in the meantime, we love you all.
And we'll say goodbye.
Except for you, not you.
Not you, Randy.
We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.